One Piece is chock full of powerful characters, each with moves stronger than the last. Let's take a look at some of the mightiest characters out there and those whose moves fail to impress. There are a lot of interesting weapons in the world of anime, and some of them are a lot more powerful than they look. But when it comes down to it, slingshots just aren't something that tend to inspire a lot of fear. Usopp uses his Ginga Pachinko slingshot against opponents, and to be fair, he wields it quite well. Plus, the fact that it looks more like a child's toy than a serious device often leads people to underestimate him at their own peril. He also mixes it up by using different types of ammunition that can produce a powerful punch when it connects with an opponent. Let's take a look at the Kyaku Boshi, or Gunpowder Star. Mr. 5 claims that the powder isn't very tasty, which isn't surprising, and also points to the fact that Usopp is likely using an inferior quality powder. Not that I recommend doing a taste test or anything. Even though his aim is spot on, the Gunpowder Star is more likely to leave his foes dusty as opposed to doing serious damage. This attack is definitely way more effective than a Magikarp Splash, but when compared to the other moves in One Piece, it just falls short. The fact that Tony Chopper is able to fight at all, being a human-reindeer hybrid creature, is already pretty impressive. But I'm not here to talk about whatever combination of magic and science made this possible. I'm here to talk about his signature attack, which involves his reindeer hands, or maybe feet? Yeah, let's just say he fights using his hooves. Once Chopper engages the arm point form, his muscles become huge, while his hooves remain relatively small and fierce. Tony Chopper's go-to move is the Kokutei Roseo, which translates to Carving a Hoof Cherry Blossom. Now, if I was rating the names of signature moves, this one might actually be the best of them all, but since I'm not, the Carving Hoof Cherry Blossom has earned its spot. Basically, Tony Chopper blasts enemies with his hoof, leaving behind a print that looks like a cherry blossom petal. It packs a wallop, and Tony Chopper can throw out a ton of them in quick succession. While getting on the wrong side of this hoof definitely hurts, there are way more impressive moves in the One Piece universe. Tony Chopper does his best with what he has, but Nico Robin is an assassin with training and experience. And since she chose that particular vocation, it means she's skilled at delivering attacks that people don't exactly walk away from. Unlike many other fictional assassins, she doesn't need an entire arsenal to deliver an incredibly powerful attack. Let's just say she's really good at disarming her opponents, and she has some pretty serious offensive moves as well. Nico Robin has a variety of special moves based on how many arms she sprouts during each attack. Her Seis Fleur move means she grows 6 arms, and she doesn't do so in order to maximize her hugging capabilities. She uses this move to grab her foes and twist their bodies into uncomfortable positions, crack their backs in half, and just plain old slap them silly. You gotta hand it to her, she has an impressive signature move, and it's effective at dealing with multiple enemies at once. But there are definitely more impressive moves out there. Brook might be a musician, but don't let that fool you, because he's capable of some pretty impressive fighting moves. He uses a cane sword he calls Soul Solid that's in remarkably good shape considering he's been using it for over 50 years. Not only is this a strong sword on its own, but Brook uses his Devil Fruit ability to power it up and make it as cold as the underworld itself. Unlike many fighters who rely on brute strength alone, Brook uses speed and precision to make sure every hit counts. This also means that his enemies don't have enough time to dodge or block his attacks. His Hanata Sancho Yahazagiri, or 3-verse humming arrow notch slash, uses speed as a prime component. Brook attacks before his opponent can blink and way faster than any outside observer can comprehend what just happened. After Brooks walks 3 meters away, then it hits his foe, just what has happened to them. The speediness of this attack makes it incredibly versatile in addition to how powerful it is. Plus, taking away an opponent's ability to dodge or parry puts them at a huge disadvantage. It's easy to see that cyborgs have something of an advantage when it comes to fighting, and Franky is no exception. He's really embraced the Popeye oversized arm aesthetic, and these limbs aren't just for show, baby! His signature move is the Coup d'Event, and to pull this off, Franky has to put together his arms with a T-shaped connector. This allows him to combine the strength of his 2 appendages and fire out a cannonball of compressed air. The Coup d'Event translates to Wind Cannon, and not only is this cannon powerful, but it's also incredibly fast. This blast can fire at the speed of sound, and Franky does have the ability to adjust the power behind this over-the-top punch. He can use a more minor coup event or go all out until the force of this move pushes him backwards. As a living weapon, it's not surprising that Franky can do a lot of damage, but the delayed charge-up time definitely loses him some points here. There are plenty of powerful punches in One Piece, but let's take a look at the black leg style of martial arts used by Sanji. As you probably can guess from the name, this fighting method has an emphasis on the legs, while the hands and arms function as a way to keep balance and enhance the strength of those walking sticks. After all, a chef like Sanji definitely has motivation to keep his hands safe. Being defeated is one thing, but not being able to cook afterwards would be another. One of Sanji's most powerful moves is the anti-manner kick course. To pull this off, Sanji lifts one of his legs straight into the air to take an opponent down in a single shot. If he's facing a particularly tall target, he might have to jump up a little bit first to get his foot where it needs to be. And if he's up against a smaller target, he can kick them up into the air using this technique only to meet them with a barrage of feet. Most people can barely handle one sword, and two is really pushing it. But if you're interested in biting off more than you can chew, check out the Santoryu's style of sword fighting. Practitioners take a katana in each hand and grip a third in between their teeth. Just a fair warning, I definitely don't recommend trying this at home. This style was created and mastered by Roronoa Zoro, and there are many different moves that can be done while fighting with three swords. One of these moves is the Oni Giri, and the fact that it's known as the Ogre Cutter should tell you something about how powerful it is. This method involves all three blades slashing at the same time, and Zoro does this with incredible speed. It's hard enough to block a single sword coming at you quickly, let alone three of them at the same time. But even though this is a great technique, there's one drawback that prevents it from being higher up on this list. There's a brief moment when all three swords line up, and this gives opponents a chance to block them. Three swords can do a lot of damage, but with a title like Strongest Creature in the World, you know you're up against a serious enemy. I'm talking about Kaido of the Beasts, the Governor-General of the Beasts Pirates and an incredibly skilled fighter. As if he wasn't intimidating enough, he can also transform himself into a massive dragon. He can't quite fly, but he can move through the air by creating clouds and stepping on them, which is almost just as good. Hot hands aside, he can also release a devastating flame from his mouth, and that's a hard attack to beat. Kaido's Bolo Breath is not only hot, but it's also fast, striking in mere moments. It can absolutely decimate anything it touches, and few things can even stand a chance to weather its impact. A full-on flame blast from a fire-armed dragon is insanely powerful, but there are a couple of even more impressive moves in this One Piece arsenal. When it comes to doling out special attacks, Luffy goes for both quantity and quality. Luffy claims that a single blow of his fists is as powerful as a pistol, and based on what I've seen, this certainly seems to be the case. He might not subscribe to a particular form of martial art, but he definitely keeps things interesting by switching up his various Gomu attacks. Depending on which version of One Piece you watch, this attack might have a different name, but it's pretty recognizable no matter what you call it. One superpowered signature variation is the Gomu no pistol. If you thought holding a katana in your teeth was difficult, pulling off this move is really a stretch, and I do mean that literally. Luffy extends out his punch by stretching his arms and landing a powerful concentrated blast on his opponent. This versatile move can be used on enemies up close or far away, making it useful in a variety of different situations. It might look kind of silly, but there's no denying that it's an extremely effective maneuver. Not only is it useful, but it's also one of the most iconic attacks in all of One Piece. Being able to throw a fist with the speed and strength of a bullet is impressive, but this next move is even better. Anyone who's familiar with the world of comic books knows that weather manipulation is a top-tier talent, and it's something Nami from One Piece is more than capable of. She achieves this by using a climate act, which can be separated into three separate segments. By manipulating the different segments, Nami can launch a variety of elemental attacks and produce heat, cool, and thunderballs. Sure, not all of the climate act abilities are the most functional, but it's capable of some amazing things. There's the Thunder Tempo, which emits a small boxing glove that's not the most effective weapon out there. But then we have the Thunderbolt Tempo, which more than makes up for it. When Nami mixes a cool ball and a heat ball, it creates quite literally the perfect storm to throw a thunderball into. This generates a powerful lightning storm to strike her foes. Being able to rain lightning down upon your opponents is a pretty unbeatable attack. A hail of fists is always useful in a battle, but it's just not as great as a sky full of lightning. If you can think of a One Piece move cooler than a lightning bolt, I'm all ears. Share your pick in the comment section below, and don't forget to click subscribe for more videos from CBR. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.